Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome to episode 196 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. There are times in our lives when we realize that something is missing in our work, and sometimes it's that sense that we truly belong because we're not feeling that our spiritual self is being fulfilled and acknowledged. That sense of I'm doing the work I was meant to do in the way that I was meant to do it. Or you feel like you're just working for a paycheck, not truly caring about what you do, and perhaps you start to feel like you have questions about the meaning of life or why you do what you do in your time here. And you start to wonder if other people you work with think or even have the same questions that you do. Why do you get drawn to spirituality more so than others? So today's podcast is on how you can be spiritual at work and how it can be one of your greatest assets. So in the workplace, we often confuse spirituality with religion. Religion is often accepted as a topic we do not discuss, like politics. We want to let people have their own personal beliefs and allow others to work with each other without this question of what we believe about religion and creating a sense of divisiveness. And we're really looking not to offend or create any issues. And so if you're used to being professional, that means that you drive towards results, and there's such a focus on the outcome and what we've achieved, the tangible things that we can see and measure, and we often forget about the way that we've achieved the results and the intangible nature of our motivations and what drives each one of us. We forget that that spiritual part of us is the source of peace, of drive, of selflessness, of work. And life gets busy. And over time, we put aside our spiritual practices thinking they're a luxury. Yet when life keeps getting harder and the going gets tougher and tougher, and you start to hit a fork in the road in terms of priorities at home and in life, you realize that you need some type of inner guidance system. You need a North Star that keeps you going and gives you energy even when you're tired, confused, exhausted, or even overwhelmed. Life will give you many struggles, rejections that seem to push you off the solid path that you thought you were on. And as we start to forget our spirituality, we start to feel unmoored and we start to feel adrift. Where do you stand on certain issues? What is our point of view? What do you do with the fear? How do you handle stress? What do you do about your next move once you've achieved what you thought you wanted to achieve? And how do we move forward despite the uncertainty and the constant change that's also in our lives? We want to lead. We want to be the strong, confident leaders with financial freedom and options. But somewhere along the way, we believe that in order to do so, we must leave our spirituality by the wayside. The question is this, however. What is spirituality? How is it different versus religion? How is life different when we ignore our spirituality versus bring it in? And what happens when we stop using our greatest asset and the thing that drives and motivates us at our core? So I researched this topic when I was at Columbia completing my executive coaching certification. Specifically, I researched spirituality in the workplace. And what I have found through the research is that spirituality is different from religion. Spirituality is a set of individual beliefs. That is your personal understanding of your gifts, what brings you meaning and connection to a purpose and a community. It is inclusive and individualistic at the same time because it's personal, whereas religion is a set of common beliefs and practices organized by a community or group. If you happen to hear some banging in the background, We're getting some work done in our home, so this is why you're hearing it. So hopefully you can still hear me and be able to tune some of that out. So this inclusive nature is why spirituality is so helpful in the workplace. It is about including yourself and others, not excluding. And not only that, studies have shown most people want more spirituality in the workplace. They want to feel connected to something that feels meaningful in their lives. They want to bring their gifts and strengths to work each day, and they want to be part of a community. And when we focus on spirituality, we go beyond what separates us and focuses instead ourselves and everyone around us on what connects us. Connection in ways that allow there to be more depth in relationships, even with different beliefs. And people are allowed to have different ways of being and believing. True visionary and inspiring leaders are often the connectors, one who can take different, divisive, and separate thoughts and ways of working or being and bring us towards a connected vision of an inspired future. They believe solutions exist, and then they create those solutions. They believe they want to be part of a solution. They believe and use their time to care for others and the world around us. And these kinds of purpose-driven leaders, they create organizations, they create teams, they create these communities where people feel drawn towards them, and it's no longer acceptable to just be results-oriented, especially if you really want to stand out and lead. People demand to know what you believe and how you're aligning your actions with your belief, how and why you do what you do. And every time we decide to leave our spirituality out of the equation, we miss out on the full amount of potential and experience that we can have in our life. It is our job to translate and understand what we believe into words that connect and inspire. And as a professional, when you believe that it's just your job to just execute, and it's not your job to believe, to create a place where people can feel purpose and meaning in their work, you miss out on another opportunity to demonstrate and work these leadership muscles. It is easier to only talk about getting the job done, but rarely is it transformational for the people around you. You miss those opportunities to practice being a compelling leader, to actually have thought leadership, to create and use all of those opportunities every single day that end up fueling the lasting change that you're looking for, and to see yourself affecting others in positive ways. You never learn how to translate what you personally believe into a message that resonates and unites people together. And so how does someone bridge the gap between spirituality and practicality? It is through spiritual high performance strategies. And the first one is through your superpower edge. And it's often easier for us to take the personal and what we understand and then apply it to the macro level, to a higher level concept, and to start to think about other people. When you learn how to figure out who you are and you operate with those key guiding principles in mind, you start to see how you can get better results with less time, drama, and energy. You see yourself thriving in new ways that benefits all of your life and the people in it, because you're finally upending and seeing the blind spots, and you're facing the things that you typically fear and want to hide from. And you find yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually stronger because you realize that your talents and your gifts were meant to help you in all aspects of your life. When you start to do this and figure out how to really navigate yourself and your gifts and your strengths with a different set of finesse and grace and skill level, then you can start to do this with your teams, with your peers, and then with those who you report into, or maybe even those you aspire to be more like. when you start to learn how to translate your own uniqueness into your brand, into new opportunities, you can then start to share and create what might seem like almost a movement and a community based on a vision where you are creating more leaders. A movement where others see you owning your unique style and your unique brand, and that encourages them to step out of their comfort zones and do the same. The second way to bridge spirituality and practicality is through your flow rituals. This is the way that you work and the individualized structure to your day and week that enables you to take on these bigger challenges, to take on bigger roles with less stress and overwhelm. Most of our income and our time freedom is capped because of what we believe about ourselves, about time, and how we overwork ourselves when we have more demands come our way. We find ourselves struggling with a lot of tasks, with to-dos, with the anxiety of overwhelm, and they become symptoms in our body because of stress. And you will learn through these rituals how to alchemize hard situations, stress, how to increase your body and your resilience and your capacity so that you're able to create more energy for the work that needs to be done in your life, personally and professionally. And whether it's the work of deciding what is next when there is incredible uncertainty for yourself, or leading others through change, this level of inner resilience is a driving factor. And it helps us create 5 times more in 10 times less time because you're able to decide without as much drama how to navigate these harder choices in life that accompany age, tenure, experience, and true growth. Life will get harder and harder. And when we don't work and live this way, we start to believe more strongly in where we are today, not why or how this has come to be. We find ourselves having difficulty making changes that might rock the boat in terms of our work or personal lives. And we often don't do what we know would be the most helpful or important thing because we're used to doing what's easy. This is not the life you signed up for, nor is it the leadership you want to exhibit. You wake up 10, 15 years later thinking you'd be further along by now. I've seen this unfold time and time again, and the 2 options you now have are these 2 paths in front of you. In the first path, you can decide to hide your spirituality, not get to understand and know what it is, and you will show up as super results driven, but eventually you burn out because that purpose and motivation is just not as deep. You end up wanting to quit, or you get laid off, or not promoted as far, or you hit a cap because you just aren't as motivated and driven by purpose as the person next to you. And whatever their reasons may be, it shows to you and to others. You eventually stop progressing. The other path is that you do the hard but simple work that most people won't do to have results that most people won't have. And this is to figure out how to bring all of yourself to work. Really understand who you are, your spirituality, so that you can be the most engaged and fulfilled person in the room always. You're not hiding who you are, and you're no longer overworking to create outstanding results. And if you're ready for that second option, you can join me inside the Spiritual Achiever Coaching Program by going to mayemson.com/spiritual achiever. It is risk-free. You can try out the first month, and if you don't see the changes that you're looking for, just email us and we will get you your money back. And you will get clarity on what you want next, figure out how to do it so you can have the time and financial freedom that you've been working towards. And I've also put together a free training on how to stop overworking and hiding so that you can create your next chapter with calm confidence and finally achieve that time and financial freedom. You can go to the show notes and the link is in there to get access now. So my friends, I hope you have an amazing week. I will see you next time. I love you all so much. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mamson.com. You'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.